before we get started.
You
Are
can't.
you on? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I call this meeting to order, and, Mr. Johnson, would you give the invocation, please?
Father, again, I thank you for allowing us to come in your honor, city district. I ask for knowledge and wisdom that we make the right decision for our people. And Father, I ask you to bless our state, this country, that will bless the Ralston family, and all those that are bereaved and sick and shed in. Our soldiers that's on the battlefield, in your name I do pray. Amen.
Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have modifications to the agenda.
No, sir.
I entertain a motion that we approve it.
I'll
We'll handle that.
I'll make a motion.
And motion's been made, second, we approve the agenda as printed.
We do need to add something, we have to approve the appraisal.
Okay, well, I was gonna do it, but I think it's good that you amended that. I was gonna do it under the, mayor comments, but, let's see, where do we do that? Let's go ahead and have it started. Yeah, let's make an alt and have it to begin with. And that's the, real estate appraisal that we had to get on this property thing we're dealing with the, driver services. And the attorney will explain that, we'll get into it. Entertain a motion, do we make that amendment?
I make a motion that we add the amendment.
I say.
Motion's been made and seconded that we, alter our agenda by adding alt having to do with real estate with DDS. Okay, is there any further discussion about it? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, it's carried. Now I entertain a motion that we approve the amended agenda.
Awful motion.
Motion made by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Budworth. Any further discussion about that? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, we've got our work cut out for us. All right, Mr. Attorney, go ahead and explain what we talked about with the,
You have in front of you appraisal by Dwayne Bell, Board Certified General Appraiser. The swap we're doing with Barrett LLC out to the DDS property, the Georgia law requires that the swap of equal value, that we must have an appraisal showing that it is of equal value. The city council has to approve the appraisal. We're in the process of running the notice that we're going to do the swap for 4 weeks. And the law says we have to run it for 4 weeks, at least 6 weeks prior to the swap. And I have a calendar to actually exchange the deeds on December 6th, which is fit into the time frame if y'all approve this appraisal tonight. We'll be ready to go.
all right, if you, all this state, there's no money exchanging hands. We're, he's needing a piece of property over by our, I'm sorry about my horses, but it has to do with medication that I'm on for this problem that I've got. We are gaining the property. He's deeding us a section of land on the left-hand side. We're deeding him an adjoining tract of equal value. I entertain a motion that we approve this.
I make a motion that we approve.
I second.
Okay. Got a motion made and seconded that we approve the appraisal and that also have to approve the fact that we're making the exchange.
Well, you already approved
We've
that.
already done that. Okay. So the motion, John, is that we approve the appraisal.
Correct.
Okay. And Ms. Leggett, that's what you seconded. Okay. Any further discussion about it? Hearing none, call for vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, Mr. Rainey made it in. We gave you a few minutes, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it, apologize for my tardiness.
That's all right. Okay, you've been putting time in, get the business handled, so you got in on everything. Okay, let's move on now. You remember Monday night, we all were asked to get a list of street improvements in your ward. And what I'm going to do next week, I know how much money we've got, and of course the cost of payments and all that. and I'm gonna figure how much of this list we can get done with the amount of money we got. Of course, we got a little money. We always do try to put a little extra money up with the street blocks with it. But at any rate, if you'll get these lists in, I will next week before we leave for Thanksgiving, I'll get this worked up and submit the LMIG grant, which is a local maintenance improvement grant.
But now that's the list we just gave you, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So, but see, just like with yours, what you've asked me to do, I've got to figure it all out and see how all that comes in. You've got Diane, didn't you say you were changing? Yeah.
She's gonna get with Conrad in the morning and look at both of those streets.
And you and I,
One.
you've got one? Okay. Or if you would get it to me sometime before,
Again,
What's the name of Commissioner Rainey?
it's Old Graham
Okay,
to the county line, which is right at Farmer Street.
okay. Thank you.
you talk about the city limits?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay. So now
Well, the
we,
city limits is on one side, the county on the other.
so Miss Diane, you'll get with Street Department Supervisor Conrad Swain in the morning and get that one to us. Okay. That's the only one we like. She's gonna get with Conrad.
All right, if you'll get that list to me tomorrow sometime, I'll try to begin to make sense out of it next week. Okay, let's move along. Mr. Attorney, you go handle the first reading of the ethics ordinance?
I will.
All right,
Now, this is the first reading of the ethics ordinance, read in accordance with the requirements of the charter. An ordinance to amend the code of ordinances of the city of Hazelhurst, Georgia, to provide a new code section for ethics, to provide for penalties, to provide for codification, to provide for severability, to repeal conflicting ordinances, to provide an effective date, and for other purposes. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Hazelhurst, Georgia is authorized by OCGA section 36-35-3 to adopt ordinances relating to its property affairs and local government, whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Hazelhurst, Georgia is the mayor and council thereof. And whereas the governing authority deems it essential to the proper operation of democratic government that the public officials be and give the appearance of being independent, impartial, and responsible to the people, that governmental decisions and policies be made in the proper channels of the government structure, and that public office not be used for personal gain. And whereas such measures are necessary to provide the public with confidence in the integrity of its government. Now therefore, it is the policy of the city that its officials, employees, appointees, and volunteers conduct an official city business, serve others, and not themselves, be independent, impartial, and responsible, use resources with efficiency and economy, treat all people fairly, use the power of their position for the well-being of their constituents, and create an environment of honesty, openness, and integrity. Now therefore, be it is hereby ordained that the code of ordinances of the city of Hazelhurst, Georgia is hereby amended by deleting any existing section entitled ethics. Any existing sections concerning ethics shall be included from the code of ordinances if in conflict herewith, and there shall be a code of ethics consisting of 10 sections as follows. Section 1, purpose. Section 2, scope. Section 3, definitions. Section 4, prohibitions. Section 5, conflict of interest. Section 6, board of ethics. Section 7, receipt of complaints. Section 8, service of complaints. Section 9, right to appeal. Section 10, penalty. Section 2 of the ordinance. The sections, subsections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, and phrases of this ordinance are severable. If any section, subsection, paragraph, sentence, clause, or phrase shall be declared illegal by the valid judgment of creating a court of competent jurisdiction, such illegality shall not affect any of the remaining section, subsections, paragraphs, sentences, clauses, and phrases of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinance and parts of ordinance in conflict herewith are expressly repealed. Section 4, the adoption date of this ordinance is December 15, 2022, being the date of its second reading at a regular scheduled meeting of the City Council, and effective date of this ordinance after such reading shall be January 1st, 2023. This is the first reading, November 7th, 2022.
thank you, sir. That takes care of that. Yes, ma'am. Okay, there's also a resolution. Have you got that? You got it?
Whereas the Board of Directors of the Georgia Municipal Association has established a certified city of ethics program, and whereas the city of Hazlehurst wishes to be recertified as a certified city of ethics under the GMA program, and whereas part of the certification process requires the mayor and council to subscribe to the ethics principles approved by the GMA board, now therefore be it resolved by the governing authority of the city of Hazlehurst, Georgia, that as a group and as individuals, the governing authority subscribes to the following ethics principles and pledges to conduct its affairs accordingly. Serve others, not ourselves, use resources with efficiency and economy, treat all people fairly, use the power of our position for the well-being of our constituents, create an environment of honesty, openness, and integrity. Resolved this 17th day of November 2022.
I entertain a motion that we approve the resolution.
So moved.
Good. Mr. Ramey? Mr. Ramey has made the motion, is there a second?
Mr. Johnson, second.
Mr. Johnson did second it. Okay. Motion made by Mr. Ramey and seconded by Mr. Johnson that we approve the resolution. Is there any further discussion about the resolution? Being none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being no opposition, the motion is carried. All right, let's move on. Next item is the monthly report of the police department. They asked that we just look that over and be aware of what all this work that's been work that has transpired this month. Assuming that y'all all looked at that, I think we're beginning, particularly with the Georgia State Patrol Post out here, we're beginning to get a lot more activity in trying to control speeders and violators too. Okay, you've got the adjustments on water and sewer. Anything in motion that we approve of each month for those who benefit of those that may be addition. For first one reason or another, burst water lines and all sorts of problems.
Are you doing 3 through 6?
No,
4,
Mr.
5, and 6.
Well, I'm just going to do one at a time here.
Okay.
We're doing water and sewer adjustments. And
Okay.
that's what I was explaining, that we have to, Ms. Lee has had an interest in this with the mills. Sometimes they have tremendous bursts and leaks out there. And so what that amounts to, at each month, you are given the sum total of the adjustments that we've made. So when adjustments are made, you can't come back and point to Lori or me or Bloodworth. We collectively approve these adjustments. So I entertain a motion that we approve the water sewer adjustments for this past month.
I made the motion for water and sewer adjustment.
But Mr. Bloodworth has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rainey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing opposition, motion is carried. Now report to council and the check register. I think that would put those two together, and I don't think that needs any explanation. Entertain a motion that we approve the report to council and the check register. Mr. Johnson made a motion that we approve it. It's seconded by Mr. Rainey. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, I call for the vote. All in favor of approving those two items, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to adopting those two? Accept them. Hearing none, it is carried. Okay, now then, we're ready for citizens' comments. Floor is open for any comment from any citizen. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if you don't mind coming in,
I just noticed in the city of Hazlehurst.
pull that mic down, honey, a little bit closer to you. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Well, it's mainly from Ms. Verdi so that she can get the minutes. Yeah.
Turn that here.
All right.
No, I have to have it for the minutes. It ain't me.
Yeah. I had noticed yesterday in the city of Hazlehurst on their Facebook site that they are going to reintroduce putting a dog park in. So I have a statement, a plea, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'm just going to read from it because otherwise I'm going to stray left or right, okay?
Can you tell me your name?
And I got the wrong one. Hold on.
Leah Norris. Leah
Right, I'm
Norris.
fixing to tell you. Good evening.
Well, now, let me say this to you now. The council has not made any decision on this.
Sure.
We're exploring it again.
Sure.
Okay.
I understand that. Good evening. My name is Leah Norris. I have lived in the area of Buddy Span Park for 26 years. I'm a homemaker and volunteer at our high school. My husband is employed in Hazelhurst, and both of our children were both raised here. I am here to vocalize my opinion to the addition of a dog park. When asked yes or no, would I like a dog park, I would have to say no, especially if the Buddy Span Park area is still in consideration. Approximately 5 to 6 years ago, the city presented the idea of establishing a dog park. After further investigation, we were informed that the park would be located behind Buddy Span Park and butted up to 2 sides of our property. We were never contacted personally how this would affect our livelihoods, something I would have thought out of common courtesy a committee would do. Several things went through our minds, of which the most important were lack of privacy, lack of security, and dog abandonment. The area is secluded and out of the public eye. What a perfect place for drug users and drug dealers, which still use the park today to do their business, and for unwanted dogs to be dropped off and left. Right away, land was cleared of the trees and the natural habitats that had once attracted us to the area. Anyway, that stuff was cleared, and we no longer had, were able to see. We saw, all the equipment and all that stuff. A neighbor who's now deceased watched as her backyard and view was destroyed. I can remember hearing the trees being cut and having to leave the house so as not to hear all the noise, even on the weekends. Shrubs and trees were being trimmed on my property. It was unbearable at times, all of which may have been prevented if only the city had talked to the neighborhood that was affected. Anyway, we presented some statistics to the city concerning the dog parks 5 or 6 years ago, and how the city of Hazelhurst would be in the lowest percentile of needing or even requiring a dog park. I don't believe any of that information has changed. Whether those items were ever looked at, we don't know. The work continued for a little while after, until finally the construction was stopped, but only after much damage to the land had already happened. The question of whether someone would or would not use the park is invalid. It's whether the city can run it and maintain it. There is so much more involved. A dog park is not self-sustaining. The park needs to be in an open area, for instance, Weatherly Park, or the park across the street from the post office, where law enforcement and the public can drive by and see what's going on. A dawn to dusk enforcement would probably need to be established, along with after-hours surveillance. We already know that Hazelhurst is hurting for law enforcement. Why add more to their plate? The possibilities, dog fights, disease, and unwanted dog breeding are all accusations that could be brought against other owners and the city, with or without a sign stating that they have no liability. Instead, let's look at what can be done for our children. Our parks are in deplorable condition. Buddy Span Park has had so much construction done, its appearance has become uninviting. Lighting is little to none. People drive up into the park. Security is almost non-existent. Why would we build a dog park when our children don't even have a safe place to play and enjoy the outside? Our parks are either falling apart or being destroyed. So until we can secure an area for our children, we don't need to pursue a feel-good addition for the dogs. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I did want to address one thing in what you said. I can promise you after tonight, that part, you'll see a difference when it comes to law enforcement.
I appreciate that.
I promise you that.
I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you John Bloodworth?
Yes, ma'am.
Good Lord, you look great.
Thank you.
I know who you are now.
Thank you. They'll really tell us.
I believe it.
Thank you.
Okay, did y'all want to address any comments to this, Norris?
Appreciate you coming in.
Okay, any other?
I will say this, the statements, I believe Miss Mary Ann Anderson has shared those as they have come in. You as council members and mayor really need to pay attention to that and read the
I have
comments.
read them,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, there are a lot of comments that make a lot of sense about priority.
Yeah.
There's a lot that feels like we should put our resources elsewhere, where they're more
I'm not
needed.
saying it's the end, I'm just saying they really point out priorities, potholes, that sort of thing. And It makes perfect sense.
And Vernice and I have called, or Lori and I, one of us, have called the railroad, and they were supposed to pass it on and get it fixed, and it's still not fixed. I mean, and that's all we can do with the railroad track.
Okay. Anything else on the, with reference to Ms. Leah's presentation? All right, let's move on to the next. Mr. Miles, well, go ahead.
Okay, my great-grandfather, Lewis W. White, was born in Telfair County in 1841, and he died November the 7th, 1912. He was in the Confederate Army, and also he didn't bleed in slaves, his family didn't. But then he went in the Confederate Army and served under General Lee until the end of the service. He was wounded, and he got a letter of honor, like a Medal of Honor, and he is buried in the cemetery in Hazelhurst city limits in Antioch Cemetery, according to my record. And does anyone know where Antioch Cemetery is at?
Yes, sir. I know where Antioch Cemetery is at. Yes.
You do? Where you tell them?
It's on MLK Boulevard, but there's graves out there, hundreds of them that don't have.
He's buried in that cemetery where the 5 points are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
That's where he's buried, there's a
Yeah.
headstone, the Sons of
Where
Confederate
Mrs. J.J.
Veterans.
Miley's
That's
was facing that cemetery. It's on North Williams
And
and North Midland
Yeah.
at the point.
that.
And my great-granddaddy and grandmother has got a coping lot with 2 headstones there and everything. And the Hazelhurst Memorial Cemetery has a sign there, and the Hazelhurst City Cemetery has a sign. But I'm here to see if we can put a sign to this Antioch Cemetery where my great-grandfather is buried. And I have records of where he served under General Lee.
He was one of the few Confederate soldiers given what was equivalent to the Medal of Honor. There was just a handful in the whole Confederacy, and he was one.
Yeah.
Is there
I
any
got the
questions
records here, if you
right now?
want to look at them.
No, not now. We need to
It
get them
wants
to the
a
clerk
sign.
and make copies of them, maybe to present, put in the file. But have you had someone to design what you want, how you want the sign made or anything?
I'm leaving that to you on this council of what kind of sign. I'd like one like similar to out at Hazelhurst Memorial or something identified up at the point where the name of the cemetery is, because it's some other Confederate people buried in that, also in that cemetery. And so, all I would like to do is, if the city would put a sign up of some kind there identifying that cemetery.
Well, from my point of view, we'll be more than happy, as far as I'm concerned, and I think the council will go with me to put a sign there. We would, sometimes, just like we were a little bit confused about where you were talking about the cemetery is, and it is confusing there, because there isn't a name. But now, did you also say that it had another name? Plus, it's also called Antioch and something else now?
Well, one place that's old Hazelhurst Cemetery.
You know, on that little triangle in there.
Yeah.
All right, I just want to say, that's been a little confusing. Can we distinguish between the two?
Do what?
Can we distinguish between the two?
Well,
Or maybe on one end put Old Hazelhurst Cemetery and the other put Antioch? I think the council is perfectly willing to do something, particularly with the information that you've got available to. Is that a copy of what you brought me one time and I lost?
I don't know if you lost it, what happened to it. But
Yeah.
I thought it was a certified copy of this,
Yeah, I make a
what I brought
motion that we
you,
do this.
and that was the only one I had like
We gotta
that.
get what we're gonna do first.
Well, I make a motion that we come up together with a sign to put in that location.
It's equivalent to, the
Honor.
one that we've got in the others, honor.
Right.
Determine what the real name of it is. It may be, it may go by two names.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I'm not requesting something real fancy. I'm just requesting something to
Something to
identify that
designate.
cemetery. And, you see when he was buried there, and, this especially would, what you would like to read.
John, was that a motion that you made?
That is a motion.
Well, this is the second, that goes with that, and I think all we have to do is, determine
Get
the
creative
name and
and
go
all.
on it and get it done.
Okay, did you second the motion?
I did.
Okay, motion made and second. Any further discussion about, putting a sign at Antioch Cemetery?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor? Wilk, I'm sorry.
No discussion, but the reason I was saying, the Antioch that I know about is at a church, not far from there. But now the cemetery that you're talking about, at that triangle, and I think what you all are trying to distinguish, rather than just saying plain Antioch, you wanna say Old Hazelhurst Cemetery, Old Hazelhurst Antioch Cemetery would be different. Because you just plain put Antioch Cemetery.
Well, that's what I said, we gotta get some name.
Yeah, see, on down the Kitchen Landing Road, you know, y'all got a cemetery on the left and right.
Yeah, that's, north of you, but I'm talking about the Antioch, if we're gonna put Antioch, what you're talking about, we got to distinguish between that one and the Antioch church.
Now, they used to be, in my knowledge, history, way back, I heard that there was a church
It is.
right there on that point.
Oh, what is that? Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in
I
fact,
know, way
several-
back.
Several churches used it. They had one building,
Uh-huh.
and the different religions
Right.
couldn't all afford one. And so one Sunday, one person would have it, the next Sunday somebody else would use that building, which
Yeah.
is no longer there.
And I heard that when that cemetery came, and then the paved street of North William is over some graves there, is my understanding. I don't know that, but, way back. But then, there used to be, it was a church, on that.
Well, we certainly want to mark and designate the cemetery that you're working on, but it does require some very thorough and accurate distinguishing of names and whatnot.
Right.
And we can't just go out there and start, but, and another thing, the sign and what's on it, like, now he said something about, including the city and Antioch, and so all this has got to be resolved.
Yeah, all we have to do is decide on the name that we will be putting up there. We may have to contact you again on that, but all we gotta do is go ahead and vote on it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then go and make the decision to do it.
You could say Antioch Hazel Cemetery.
Old
How does that sound?
Hazelhurst Antioch Cemetery, something with that order, but we
Something
have
like
to
that.
have to determine that.
All right, we,
Okay.
again, this has got to be worked out, but, what we want to do is assure the man that the city is gonna put a sign at the cemetery where his ancestors buried.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, well, the council has voted to put you a sign there.
Thank you very much, all of you, appreciate it very much. It's just an honor to my great-grandfather.
Yeah, now let me put that back in your file. I think it's in my office in there somewhere, I just haven't had time to find it.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson, for a long time, you were the last one to let anybody down.
John, you know that, don't you? Well, I tell you what, looks like they're gonna get another funeral home here, don't it?
I believe so, they bought some land.
I don't go uptown no time without somebody stopping and talking to me and telling me things that's not going just right.
Okay.
Thank you.
We did vote, didn't we?
Thank y'all very much.
Okay, any other citizen comments?
I have a couple of things, Mayor, right here.
Okay, is this for the council now? or-
Well, it's
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, you go ahead, you go ahead.
November 23rd, 12 o'clock. Thanksgiving luncheon, Civic Center. Okay? Employees are asking, are the council gonna be there? I've said yes. Mark that on your calendar. Once they get through eating
That is
lunch,
Thanksgiving Day at lunch, right?
no,
No, the
that's the
23rd.
day before Thanksgiving Day.
The day before, okay.
Yes,
I'm
it's
trying
on a
to get
Wednesday.
clarified.
Once they finish lunch and they got their work done, they will be going home. Christmas will be in December. Christmas Eve falls on a Saturday, December 1st. Christmas Day falls on Sunday, December 25th. City of Hazelhurst will observe December the 23rd on a Friday for the Christmas Eve holiday. Christmas Day holiday will be the Monday, December the 26th. Letting you all know, because I'm sure we will have signage up about garbage and everything else. So from Friday until Monday, the city of Hazelhurst will have Christmas holidays.
Actually, from Thursday afternoon, when they get off, they're off Friday, and Christmas Day is Saturday and Sunday, and then we're also taking Monday, so they'll have 4 days there.
You also have in front of you a green printed brochure from the fire department. Please look at the bottom. Please respond to Brandy.
Brandy.
She has to know, okay? And that's on a Saturday, December 3rd. That's it.
Okay, any, or council, we've got any more, no more outside, okay? All right, council, y'all got anything you want to add or discuss? Any matter of business you'd like to bring up? We're pretty open around here. If somebody were to walk in right now and say they wanted to say something, we'd allow them to do it. Used to at one time, they'd have to come in here a day or 2 or 3 ahead of time and say what they were going to discuss and all that sort of thing, but we've got that out. You can walk in here and say what you want. Hearing that and nothing else, I think we completed our business. Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Mayor, I would say I think we all need to read these comments and kind of look and see what the people's saying. That some of them has made some extremely good points. So I think we all need to read that and come to a conclusion.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Johnson, we're ready for you.
I'll vote to go home.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded that we adjourn. All in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here.